Hello everyone, welcome back to Optimize FPL. We are going to be going through what I call the absolute eye test. We're going to be going through who we need to put in the bin, who we need to pick for our captaincy this week, who's a must-have, and who are just players to keep an eye out for. Let's get into it. So let's start with the obvious players, the people that need to get into the bin. That means they were not very good this week. We need to probably take them out of our teams because they are either not nailed or just not playing well enough. Let's take a look. In the bin, we have Iverson in goal. He didn't end up playing. I'm not sure why a lot of people end up picking him. I'm just kidding. I know why people picked him because they thought that he was going to be potentially playing because Ward was injured. I fully understand why, and honestly, making a transfer for him probably isn't the best thing to do. But Iverson was somebody that is an unfortunate pick. Moving on to the defensive pick, Cash. Aston Villa's defense looked absolutely terrible against Bournemouth full teams. I'd be very, very worried about Aston Villa's defense. So, Cash has some decent fixtures coming up. Don't get me wrong, but he's definitely somebody that I would try to get out. Walker, Zinchenko, Gabriel, even Trippier. There's a lot of other really good £5 million players that you could bring in for Cash. I would wait until the deadline. I'm saying this for all of them. Actually, just gonna say this now. Wait until the deadline before you make any transfers. There's no need to rush into them unless there's a price rise or price fall. You want to wait for the most amount of information as possible. Anyways, let's keep going. Mahrez only getting 1 point coming off the bench. I think in like the 87th minute or something. I swear Pep did that on purpose because he knows people pick him in FPL. And yeah, Mahrez only getting 1 point. He doesn't seem to be nailed. Now that Foden can play on the right, Foden can play on the right, left, in behind Holland. He can play up top if Holland's not feeling well. We all thought that Mahrez had that right spot nailed down, but he's just been playing so poorly these last couple of games. I'm not surprised that he ended up getting benched. In the forward line, Havertz. Chelsea just looks so impotent in front of goal. Like they just looked awful. They just don't seem like they're going to be a team that's going to do very well this season. I'm really worried about them. And Havertz is not a player that I want in my team personally. And I would recommend moving on if you can get him. I think he was like 8 million, right, or 9 million. I can't fully remember. I think that's roughly what he was. So if you can transfer him to like Gabriel Jesus, I think that I'd recommend it. But I mean, most people that picked Havertz are probably picking him for a little bit more of a longer term space than 1 week. So maybe give him the chance. But I'm worried about him to say the least. Moving on to ones to watch. These are players who did really, really well this week and were potentially not on people's radar as much as they should have been. Mendy getting 7 points against Everton. Chelsea's defense did look decent. I mean, it's Everton without Calvert-Lewin, so I mean, there's only so much I can go off of. That team is pretty crap without him. So keep an eye out for Mendy. I want to see what he can do. Potentially get some more points in the near future. If Chelsea's defense can hold up and even potentially bring in another center back. They're talking about bringing in Fofana. It seems like he's not for sale, but if Chelsea bring in another center back, he could look really, really good in net. Up next is a player I actually just recently mentioned when we're talking about Cash. Cash is Zinchenko. Could be a really good option before the first wild card you play, probably around game week 8, 9. When Tierney potentially gets back, and then Zinchenko and Tierney have to fight for a place. But Zinchenko looked absolutely fantastic in this game. He played super far forward. He ended up getting an assist, keeping a clean sheet. He looked fantastic. He could be a great asset for the entirety of the season. If he can nail that on the left wing spot, or left back spot, or somewhere in the midfield potentially would be nice. In midfield, Kulusevski. I mean, we all are really worried about him losing minutes to Richarlison, but Kulusevski looked like one of the best players on the field for Tottenham. So, getting 13 points, he looked fantastic. Getting a goal and assist, I'm pretty sure he is someone definitely keep an eye out for. If you can get him in somehow, maybe like I said, Mahrez, you can get Mahrez out for Kulusevski. Pretty easy transfer. Kulusevski looked just fantastic. As a Tottenham fan, I'm really looking forward to what he can do this season. I think he can really uh, hold down that right wing spot. I think Richarlison could almost potentially be like a rotation player, so like just more like during the Champions League time where he'll come in or he'll come in off the bench. So Kulusevski potentially won't get 90 minutes, but he'll get like 75 minutes, 70, 60 minutes, and then Richarlison will come in for him. So it's not the best option. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of better options at 8 million in my opinion, but he's definitely not bad, and I think someone to keep an eye out for. In the forward line, I mean, it's the easiest one of the bunch. Mitrovic playing Liverpool at home or away. Home? I think it was at home. Mitrovic playing Liverpool at home. 13 points, very, very decent from him. Getting 2 goals, it's just absolutely insane. He bullied Trent Alexander-Arnold in the first one. He bullied Van Dijk when he was running right at him. Like he looks really good this season. I know everyone has been talking about how when he comes into the Premier League he can't hold it together, he can't play as well, but he played really well this game. So maybe that's something of the past. Up next is a couple of must-haves this week. These are players that have really high expected points and look really, really good in the last game. So Saw Wolves defense looked decent. I mean, they end up losing to Leeds 2-1, so it's a bit disappointing from them. But it was an own goal to let in one of them, I'm pretty sure. So it could have went either way, you know. But he's expected 4.2 points, one of the highest from all goalkeepers, the highest 5.0 goalkeeper expected points. So he's looking pretty good. Kyle Walker at 4.6 million. I think I talked about him before. He looked really, really good against West Ham. He was playing almost in the center mid spot. Like him and Cancelo, instead of playing on the wings, were playing more in the center, and then the wide players would come back more, and almost creating like a line of four between the fullbacks and the wingers. It was a really interesting formation. They played really, really well. And yeah, Walker just looked absolutely fantastic. Someone to definitely keep an eye out for, and if you can get him in your team, I'd recommend it. So yeah, Bowen, 5.3 expected points, pretty decent. I mean, Bowen is not someone that's going to be very easy to get in our teams unless you have an extra point 0.5 in extra cash that you can move Mahrez or somebody else, because everybody has like an 8.0 roughly. Usually, most people do. So getting him in could potentially be a bit of a difficulty because he's a little bit more expensive, but he's playing Nottingham Forest at home, so it's a great fixture for West Ham. If you can get one of their players in, it's a good chance to do so. Yeah, keep that in mind. And last but certainly not least, Holland, Bournemouth at home. Do I need to say any more? 7 expected points, probably going to get like 20. He looked absolutely fantastic against West Ham, and if that's an indication of how Bournemouth and their entire team are going to play against Bournemouth, Man City looked fantastic, and they are going to absolutely rip them apart. So Holland, it should be probably everybody's game week captain this week if you can get him in. Yeah. So last up, best captaincy choice. We just talked about it. Holland, expected points 7. KDB actually is considered the best captain choice by the predicted points at 7.2. But I think KDB is a much harder captain to get in than Holland. If you have Kane, you go straight to Holland, or at least I hope you did before the price rises did. But Holland to Kane, pretty easy transfer. Getting KDB in is almost impossible. You have to take Kane or Holland out of your front line and upgrade one of your midfielders. It's just not worth it. I just think he's too hard to get in. Cancelo is an interesting one at 6.4. Probably not somebody you really want to like. They can see the goal and all that expected points goes down the drain. Anything it can happen to anybody. We saw against Fulham what happened to the Liverpool back line. They one lucky goal and they lose all their points. Salah as well against Crystal Palace, not surprising, 6.9 expected points. He's also a really good captaincy option. I'm going to be personally debating between Hala and Holland and Kane. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. But yeah, that is it for the eye test. This is everything I saw from these games from this first game week. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know about the format. Let me know anything you want to say in the comments down below. Thanks so much. I look forward to hearing back from everybody. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.